Is there anybody out there?
Testing.
Just not if you can hear me. Is there anyone home?
Yeah, it says
Do you know what that's from?
It says there's a few people. No, what's it from?
Just not if you could. Is there anybody out there? No?
Is it a song?
It is.
Okay.
You got that part of it right. It's Pink Floyd.
Well, you gotta sing it then, or else I don't know.
Well, like I kind of did.
Yeah.
I kind of Ashwagandha.
Okay.
I like to send her stuff that's stupid on Instagram, and a lot of it usually has to do with metal singers doing dumb stuff.
Yeah.
But it is actually like
Meanwhile,
really
I was
funny.
in the middle of filming today, and I'm getting
when
notifications
I was sending you stuff. Yeah, exactly.
from Instagram.
Well, hey, if anybody's watching and you're out there, say something in the chat or something like that. I don't expect a bunch of people here because I kind of haven't been on YouTube.
A lot of people don't like to be in the chat. They just want to lurk.
Oh, there you go. Oh, we got hi. Hi.
Hi.
2 nights in a row you're hanging out with us.
Yeah, aren't you tired of us, girl?
I'm exhausted.
That's my lean.
By it all. Yeah.
But
well, hi. That's good to know.
This is David's return to YouTube.
Good to see you.
I have
Thank you.
I have lip gloss on, and then I just took a sip of this that has cinnamon all over it. So I got cinnamon literally just like all full on stuff.
There you go.
So my lip gloss, I should have known better.
Greetings, fellow alien. I know.
Hello. Yeah, it's good to give people a
of,
couple minutes to trickle in.
our kind of.
Where's my chat?
Yeah, no, I'm giving it
Where's
a
my
few
chat?
minutes just to kind of hang out and stuff. I'm not really like certain of what I wanted to chat with you all about, but I figured I'd give you some updates on stuff that I have going on, and I don't know if you have anything, questions or whatever else. I'm here to listen and respond, and see. Hey, Casey. Holy cow! What time is it for you?
Who?
What time for
Who are
everybody?
we
Like,
talking
just
to?
put your time on there.
I
Inside
don't
the mind.
know your people.
Inside
so
the
it's
mind of an
weird.
INFJ in Australia, I believe.
I only know my lean.
Yeah.
I'm used to doing my own live chats.
Wait a second. Sorry you're late. It's 7:34. Like I'm just realizing that I'm live. So
Yeah.
you're fine.
It took us a little bit to figure it out.
7:30. It's 11:30 a.m. here, but like you're on a different day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would be tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Did anything exciting happen last night that I should be prepared for?
It's like when I talked to Scott in Australia, and it's
Yeah.
like a different day. It's like morning for him and end of the day.
Pacific Northwest, Connie. Yeah. My old stomping grounds up there.
Yeah, I feel like this is a good time.
Yes,
to
it's
go
Friday.
live.
Well, happy Friday then. That's exciting.
Yeah. Where are they?
Everybody's all over the place. I don't know. Like we're everywhere.
Oh, hi, Emma.
6:30 in Memphis. How's Tennessee right now?
I want
All
to
good?
go.
I'll be there in
We'll be there.
a couple months. We'll be there in a couple months. Possibly with cats and snakes. I don't know how we're gonna figure it out, but we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Knives Out in Philly. 7:30 p.m. Go Birds. That's my longtime stomping grounds. Born and raised right outside the city.
Oh, from Japan.
Well, that's pretty awesome.
That is pretty awesome.
From Florida.
Konnichiwa.
Oh, that's right. Konnichiwa.
Yeah.
Traveling through
Genki desu ka?
Idaho on your way to Portland. Which way are you going? Are you going through Coeur d'Alene? I made that drive many years ago. It's one of the most beautiful places I've ever seen. And then I ended up in Spokane, and it wasn't. So there's that. Good. Happy Friday morning.
That's pretty cool.
That's pretty awesome.
Don't
No.
remind us of
Look. It's the loss is okay. Like everything's gonna be fine. I'm very confident. I'm certain the Sixers are gonna break my heart. I'm excited about the Phillies. Do the Flyers even exist? And we pretty much wrapped up Philadelphia sports. Like that's kind of the way it goes.
I'm from New York. I really can't relate to any of this.
Yeah, no, that's fine. It's fine. It's
In
all
New
good.
York, the only teams that exist are New York teams. So.
Yeah. So
Hi, Beth.
so I'm up to chat.
Come here.
Further south, Boise. Okay, yeah. I'm up to chat about whatever. If you have something that you I don't know, feel like it's worth me touching on as a topic, I'm happy to touch on it. you know, certainly I don't want to talk about cognitive function stuff. I'm just, oh, and here's, welcome to Crash. There we go. See, he's relaxed.
So relaxed.
He's calm. Normally he just attacks me.
No, he's too fat.
Yes, that's what
Do
he
anything.
that's what he does.
He's too fat to move.
But I did have something interesting.
Oh, we should turn this fan off.
A watcher of my YouTube stuff and somebody that I've talked to on and off, actually for quite some time, subscriber for quite some time, and sent me a message, and it was this guy that had written an article, and it was his breakup letter with MBTI, and I thought it was kind of interesting. No, Pennies and Closure is actually behind.
Yeah, I was like,
It's
which
that
one
way.
are you seeing? We got
It's
a
that
new
way.
one for our new snake.
It's just, it's a little over that way. So it was his MBTI breakup letter, and I thought it was kind of interesting because he was basically like, you know, I've come to the conclusion that MBTI doesn't really exist. If everybody's on some kind of a spectrum with all of their cognitive functions, then we are truly all unique and different, and does it even matter?
And why am I INFJ every time I take the test?
And I go, well, okay. So there's that. I thought he had an interesting take on it.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily agree. I agree to an extent. I guess I'll put it that way. I get a lot of people that comment on the channel and stuff like that that'll tend to be very locked in to cognitive functions. So much so that they're like, you know, if I am this type and this person is this type, there's no way we'd ever get along ever. And I very much believe that that is absolutely the wrong way to look at just about anything. So I'm curious if any of you have a similar take. I am going to talk about the books that I'm working on. I'm working on a lot of writing right now. So actually, I should be working on a lot of writing right now, but
You're
I'm
getting it done.
doing other things and stuff like that. I'm just trying to keep an idea here.
Yeah.
Watermelon helmet. I'm not really sure what that means, but okay.
Knives Out
Kingston,
has
Ohio.
a good question. What types do you
Where's-
find the most kinship or friendships with?
J-Dude, what's up? It's good to see you. What types do I find kinship or friendship with?
ENFJs.
Yeah, I mean, if I had to peg like a specific type that I've seen a repeat of like friendships throughout my life, INTJs. I tend to get along pretty well with INTJs, depending on the circumstance, and certainly ENFJs. There always seems to be just, I don't know, ENFJs I feel like are really good for INFJs in lots of ways. But again, like I've also met, you know, just about every type that's been horrible, I guess. I mean, like terrible people exist. It's a thing. And so I try not to, you know, I take every person that I meet or come in contact with as to how does it start off and how am I treated, you know, during that. And it's kind of regardless of type. If just because somebody comes up to me and they're like, oh, I'm an ESTP, which is like our opposite essentially is an INFJ, doesn't mean that I'm initially going to shut that person out. I've met one and they were terrifying, but I'm not going to blame that on their cognitive functions. I just think she was just a terrifying person. But then again, extroverts tend to terrify me from time to time. So like, you know, is that a function thing? Like, I don't think so.
Yeah.
INTP and INFPs, yes.
I
Yes,
actually
yes.
gravitate towards other INFJs, and I didn't notice it until I started becoming aware of the people around me's MBTI and realizing how many
Right.
INFJs. I just think that like we relate to each other so much on like an emotional level and like a deeper
Right.
level.
And like, look, if you look at, you know, again, we don't have a sampling size, right? So when we're talking about this stuff and we're talking about MBTI, it may seem like everybody and their mother's an INFJ on the internet because it just seems that way. And like certainly on my channel, because I talk about INFJ stuff, there's a lot of INFJs on the channel. However, I don't know realistically, like, you know, I've said this on many videos before. I don't believe INFJs can lay claim to be the rarest type. I know that a lot of people mistype, or a lot of people misunderstand the type is probably a better way to put it. Because we do exist on a bit of a spectrum. And speaking as somebody who is going to be 48 years old this year, I'm old. But I think as you mature, you change. Your outlook on things changes. The way you perceive things, the way you talk to people, the way you understand, the way you're able to handle things like conflict and relationships and everything else changes as you mature. That doesn't mean that you're not a certain type and that you don't have certain tendencies. But, you know, do you resemble less of an INFJ? I probably do at this point, because I'm not just that typical what you would see 20-something INFJ just figuring it out and wandering through the maze of overthinking. I mean, I still do it, but like I know that I do it. So I guess that's like different.
You're aware of it happening.
Yeah, I mean the awareness actually counts for quite a bit.
Yeah.
So that's okay.
David L says that for me it's just like another tool. I agree. It's
Yep.
not like my whole identity. It's just another way for me to understand myself and the people around me and my relationships with people and how to communicate with different people. I've found MBTI to be extremely helpful when it comes to understanding other people and the way that they process things
Right.
differently than I do.
I'm able to talk to somebody now and understand what their tendencies are. And I think if we understand that MBTI is a map of your tendencies, then it becomes clearer. You know, I recently had a comment on one of my older videos, and I'm not like calling this person out. It's a perfectly reasonable thing to say, and saying that, you know, I disagreed with it in the comment, but their reasonable take was that the INTJ-INFJ relationship is an absolute dumpster fire. And I don't believe that to be the case, because we are all individuals. I have a very, very close friend who's an INTJ. I am related to multiple INTJs. Now, obviously with family relations, a little different, but, you know, speaking as somebody that I worked closely with, ran a business with, as an INTJ for many years, and their ability to drill down into things, just the way they think about and see things in a more objective way, was gold for me, because my job was to operate, I ran a martial arts studio for over 10 years, right? And when you're the owner and you're the head instructor, everything you do there is like you're using every single function you possibly could use, if you want to put it that way. I had to come up with all of the curriculum. I had to train all the assistant instructors. I'm running the classes. I'm having relationships with parents and their kids and students and everything else. So trying to get a handle on that, and having an INTJ right there by my side where I could be like, hey, I have this really cool idea. How do I make it happen? And have somebody there that can understand it, distill it,
I need one of those.
and put it into actionable like things. That was amazing, you know, and it's a reason that the place did as well as it did, is because we worked so well together. Did we disagree on things? Absolutely. You know, there was very much some tension, you know, in some ways, but I always understood and appreciated what he said. Now, somebody who's a more immature INFJ, or just figuring it out and trying to wrap their heads around this and not really understanding those dynamics and what's going on, would probably think that this person that was one of my close friends is an absolute jerk. And some people did. But being able to understand that made that relationship better. So I don't necessarily agree that there's like a specific type for INFJs, or a specific, type that matches better than others. There's always things to learn about somebody else, and they can have all kinds of tendencies from experience and everything that really colors the way they see the world and interact with people, like on a relationship level. And so basically anybody can be a jerk, and anybody could be awesome. You really don't know. But what you shouldn't do is look at 4 letters from an online test and say that there's no way you're ever going to get along with that person. That's just you being really, really silly and short-sighted about humanity at large. So that's the whole thing. This dude's breakup letter with MBTI was basically coming to a conclusion that I think a lot of people that dive in and learn about MBTI come to, which is everything is on some kind of a scale. It's all on a spectrum of sorts, you know, whether you have a tendency towards feeling or thinking. It doesn't, just because you're an INFJ doesn't mean you are a feeler and you don't think. Right. You know, it just means that you have a tendency to make decisions that way, a tendency to see the world that way through perhaps a more empathetic lens. And so realizing that there is a scale is a realization that there's not just 16 distinct personalities in the world. That would make for a very boring world. So I don't necessarily agree, but like I also kind of agree and understand where the person's coming from. I've made my disdain for INFJ memes very, very clear numerous times on this channel. And I think they're really detrimental, thinking that we've got superpowers and all that. Like we can, like, you know, I know what somebody's thinking in, you know, in Malaysia right now.
People are so desperate to feel special.
Look, it's okay. Like there's different ways to feel special, but like that's just silly. Like,
yeah,
we're not Jedis. Nobody's a Jedi. You know,
no,
who would call an INFJ a Jedi? Like, we can barely
I'm
work out what's up here.
astounded by how terrible my intuition can be with certain things too. Like, I'm not always on point with it.
Right.
Like,
Right.
Not,
See,
it's
and
not
look,
100% of the time kind of thing.
And like Casey, you're right. You and another INFJ friend talking about it, and it's all on a spectrum. It doesn't mean that your tendencies don't exist and they don't color the way you act and interact, like the way we interact.
Yeah.
It just means that is a tendency, but like that's not who you are. It's not your entire identity, and you really shouldn't. When somebody asks you like who you are, the INFJ is not the first thing that should come out of your mouth. No. You know, like there's more to you than that. You know, understanding it as a tool, that's important. You know, so I use it like that. Like, all right, you know, when I feel that weird feeling like something is wrong, I know my intuition is trying to tell me something. So I start to step back and think through it and analyze what are the things that happened in the last 48 hours. Are one of those things something that caused me to feel off? And then why? And then get to the source. Okay, how do I feel about that particular thing? Why did it trigger me in such a way? These are all judgments you can come to if you step back. If you don't have that knowledge, you're just sitting there feeling this malaise and hiding under covers and not knowing what to do with yourself. That's what MBTI, I think, can help you get past. It's just understanding yourself a bit better. There are plenty of people that think MBTI is right up there with, you know, astrology and rolling chicken bones and everything else, where they're like, well, the arbitrary location of the planets doesn't matter to me. MBTI is just a figment of, you know, Carl Jung's imagination. Like, nobody really has the exact answer, and we can't poll every single person in the world, you know, but having run this channel, I think it's pretty clear. I've interacted with hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds of people that find me because they take the test, they're INFJ, they know they are, et cetera, and you saw some of the emails that I get from people. Holy cow, like some really funny stuff where they're writing and it's just like, it's this awkward, I'm imposing, kind of, you know, I'm sorry that I'm bothering you, I know I'm annoying, et cetera, I just had this one question, and so on and so forth. And it's like, for crying out loud, like I've seen that email like just dozens of times from various INFJs. There is something to the way we think and the way we have our tendencies and how we see ourselves and approach ourselves. And so in those terms, this is a tool that works for me. That being said, I've put a lot of videos out about INFJ stuff, and I don't really have much more to like add, to be honest. You know, people are finding my channel for the first time still, and you know, I encourage them the best I can. Like, hey, just there's a lot of content. You want to know about narcissists? I got videos. You want to know about the door slam? I got stuff about that. If you're looking for advice for a new INFJ, I got a bunch of videos about that. If you're looking for why you're annoying, I've got a couple videos about that too. You guys love the negative stuff.
A better use is, what about being an INFJ and autistic? Can that really make you way more? That can really make you way more confused, because I can understand others' feelings, but I don't get some social norms and jokes. I think I read that. I read that
Right.
wrong,
So
didn't I?
social cues with autism, and obviously everything on some kind of a spectrum there as well. But
That would be pretty confusing. Yeah.
yeah, a lot of times, and things like Asperger's and stuff, people may have a hard time with with those social norms, may have a hard time
Social cues.
reading somebody's expression, or like, you know,
But
they have to
isn't
drop
that intuition,
kind of obvious hints
too?
and things like that. You're talking about something that is affecting you in a different way than just cognitive functions. So there's more at work there. And honestly, like, you can say that about a lot of different things as well. Somebody could have experienced, you know, a great deal of trauma as a kid, and that's going to affect the way they have relationships and the things that they do. So, you know, it's still a tool. It still applies. There's just some other other considerations you got to work with on that, for sure.
I like this one. David L. says that his longtime friend of 22 years is an ISFJ,
yep.
and his biggest complaint about me is that I'm too intense and I think about things no one else thinks about.
What?
That's so accurate.
You mean people aren't out there just like
What?
pondering the cosmos and the existential dread of it all? Like, I'm the only one? Oh, you guys were just talking about getting coffee. Okay, that's
Yeah.
fine too. Yeah, no, I get
That's
that.
fine.
I get that. Like, some people, especially censors, you know, maybe not as much on that bigger picture stuff. This is one of the things that I ponder constantly. Like, I'm always on another planet. And it's just like the way it goes. I saw this video that NASA like put out, and it was like this graphic, and it was like, oh, in like 9 billion years, our galaxy is going to collide with the Andromeda galaxy, and it showed like the stars and the galaxies smashing together. And I sat there and stared at it for like an hour, thinking, where am I in that picture? Like, what's going to happen? You
You're
know,
not
'cause,
there.
like, I'm not going to be there, but like, thankfully. But like, I'm wondering what's going to happen. You know, it's stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like fractals. She gets freaked out by fractals. I can stare
Oh my God, they stress
at myself
me out. They stress
going
me
into
out
a hole
so bad.
over and
I don't
over again.
understand how
Like,
that's relaxing.
it's super relaxing. I don't
But
know
then
what
again,
it
I
is.
listen to metal,
This is true.
which is funny because somebody just said that INFJs tend to express ourselves through music,
Mm-hmm.
and that whatever you're listening to at the moment is how you know what mood you're in. So what does that say about?
She's constantly listening to metal.
No, but it's like happy metal.
Oh yeah, no, that's good. It's like that kind of stuff, you know.
No, it's more melodic.
I'm into some of it, and wheedly deedlies and all that.
What is the coolest superpower to have? I don't know, flying.
I don't. Teleportation would be awesome. I like to think about the worst superpowers you could have, like being able to teleport, but only like 6 inches. You know, or like you could fly, but only in a bathroom. Yeah.
The screaming makes me feel good too. It's like a release.
Name a couple bands.
Atreyu is my favorite, pretty much of like all time, but like I don't listen to anything crazy heavy anymore. I used to listen to like really, really heavy stuff, but now I listen to more like metalcore, I Prevail.
Britney.
It's Britney, yeah. So yeah, no, like that genre, really, pretty much anything in there.
Look, I listen to a lot of music, a lot of different music. I listen to stuff some people would probably consider really weird, but it's all like mood stuff. Definitely when I'm writing, if I'm writing, I have to be listening to something, but I'm kind of specific about that, because if there's lots of lyrics, then I'll just end up typing out the lyrics.
Sorry.
Disturbed, Shine Down.
I'm
all
just
right,
saying, somebody else gets to scream for you. It's
Yeah.
relaxing. It's my like get
I
pumped in
can't-
the morning music.
I can't do Nightwish. I can't do like the operatic metal. That's not my thing. Let's see.
I can
Yeah.
appreciate the music. It's just not something that I like want to put on. I like when
Yeah.
they mix genres. Like I used to literally just listen to like da 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 da, like crazy, intense music where they're screaming at you all the time, and I
Right.
can't do that anymore. So now I like it when they blend in. Like I'm a huge fan of nu metal, and I don't care if that's lame.
It's not lame.
It's like, well, we always made fun of nu metal.
I mean, because your favorite band
But I
is
like-
Deftones is new metal, aren't
They're
they?
not. They're not.
But they were like in
They're
that
not.
scene.
They're not.
Okay.
But like they were a part of that
It's fine.
that vibe. So I like when they mix the heavy stuff with rap and even a little bit of like more
Look.
electronic influence.
There's nothing wrong with Limp Bizkit. I'm gonna come out and say it. Rolling.
No.
That's me.
What's the one that we like though that we've been listening to? Why can't I think of it right now?
Monuments?
Yeah, Monuments.
Yeah, Monuments. I'm a huge fan of Radiohead. Talk about existential dread. Radiohead to me is perfect. They're the perfect band. If I'm depressed, I listen to Radiohead. If I'm happy, I listen to Radiohead. If I want to think, I listen to Radiohead. If I don't want to think, I can put on Radiohead. So
Yeah.
there's something in their catalog for every mood that I could possibly have. If I'm writing, Radiohead is fantastic because there's not a lot of lyrics. The music is kind of a soundscape. I write a lot to Tool, so I'll definitely dig into them when especially if I'm writing intense stuff. Honestly, like I think a good 2/3 of The Caretaker, I was listening to Tool while I was writing it.
Yeah.
Because it just has the right intense kind of. A 15-minute song is really
Threw
good.
a Trivium song at you that you liked though.
Yeah, Trivium was all right. Yeah, I just don't like it when they're like.
He has a unique voice though.
Yeah, I have to. She got me into Opeth. I really like Opeth like a lot, and they're wildly different from like when they started to where they are. So there's that too.
I like their old heavy stuff. He likes their new, more like what?
I like their newer, more progressive.
Yeah.
It's more progressive, but it sounds like 60s, 70s, like British progressive. I'm a huge fan of like Yes, King Crimson, those kinds of bands. Emerson, Lake and Palmer, that kind of stuff. I grew up listening to a lot of that, so that's kind of where I got on it. Let me see. Lover and Radiohead, good. Bloody Wood, never heard of them. Sorry. Rollin', 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 rollin'. You know where it is. Yep. That's right. Keep rolling. Yeah. See.
Yeah.
You know. Look, it's just one of those days where you don't want to wake up. Everything is. Never mind. It's a great song.
It is.
And they had like a new album not that long ago, and they released a video of it where they have all the different faces of people.
Deepfake,
That
yeah.
was really funny.
They
That was good.
deepfaked all of
yeah.
the world leaders.
But also like Wes Borland he's a badass guitarist. Like they're good.
Crystal says Jesus was an INFJ.
No, I didn't think the internet was there to test him, but like maybe.
I'm gonna have to disagree.
I'm
with
tired of hearing the whole like Jesus and Hitler or INFJs. Like, can we just stop it?
I know Hitler was an
Ugh.
INFJ, right?
Like, can we
Why?
not?
Because he was an artist and was bad at it.
Yeah,
like, I don't
I can't-
understand
I
where
can't
we
with
get
that.
that from. I don't get it.
Okay, Dillinger Escape Plan.
Yes. Yes.
I happen to be a lifelong fan of Mr. Bungle, so if you know who Mike Patton is and all of his side projects, and I'm talking Mr. Bungle, Tomahawk, obviously Faith No More, yeah, I'm just like, I'll listen to anything Mike Patton does and enjoy every single bit of it.
Dillinger Escape
I've
Plan.
probably had Mr. Bungle's first album longer than I've owned any other
Forgot about that.
album. So, and they're weird. So there's that.
Did you listen to Dillinger Escape Plan?
I mean, they're weird.
Yeah, they're all over the
Well, that's why
place.
I'm talking about Mike Patton. Mike Patton
Yeah.
did a ton of stuff with Dillinger
We
Escape Plan.
loved them in
So,
high school.
yeah.
I loved Dillinger Escape Plan in high school.
Yep, see-
I just can't listen to that like chaotic kind of music anymore.
Patton was a huge influence to Dillinger. It's not a surprise. Like, all you have to do is listen to the guy. My favorite Patton work is Music to Make Love to Your Old Lady by. It's a great album. He does
See,
it
but
with,
like I don't know these these things because I'm like younger, I guess, but I listened to the other bands not knowing like who they
Not
were
knowing who it was.
influenced
Yeah, yeah,
by.
yeah.
So
So
it's interesting.
that one, the band's called Lovage, and it's just a trio. It's Mike Patton, Jennifer Charles. She's got a band out of New York. I forget what it is. And Dan the Automator. And they did one album, and it's like kind of like equally hilarious and amazing. So I would highly recommend, highly recommend if you have not, to listen to Lovage. Right? You'll love the Lovage, baby. Yeah, see, the chaos is therapeutic. There's a different kind of energy when you put on Stub-a-Dub or Egg or whatever.
I need the melody. I need to like, even if it's heavier,
Yeah,
the
see,
better,
that's the
but,
thing about
like,
Mike Patton, though. Like, he actually, and then he tours Italy and sings traditional Italian opera and like sells out stadiums. Like, the guy's just
that's
amazing.
fantastic.
Tomahawk
you
is
know
great,
what you should
though.
do,
Tomahawk
though?
is really good.
Tell them what you're working on. Or we'll talk about music.
I know, like,
movies,
you
and
get me talking about
my
music.
live stream
and I, like,
last night, I went on a whole rant about the Murdaugh trial. So like,
I don't want to do
don't
that.
get us going
I'm not
on
doing
topics that are off. So we'll talk about music all night.
Anyone else looking up these bands as they're being mentioned?
You should.
I'm gonna list a couple, right?
You
Mr.
should.
Bungle, Tomahawk,
You
Lovage.
totally should.
Start there. Start with those. This chat's
Dillinger
gonna
got
be
very
there.
melodic as they age. I'll have to check them out again. Put it
Yeah.
on my Spotify now, actually, so I don't forget for the gym tomorrow.
Let's see. Do you know about the vibration 432 and 440 difference? If not, 432 is a natural tone and it makes you relaxed, and 440 is more unnatural, like sirens or police ambulances. Interesting. I don't know. Have not heard of that.
No.
But there's that. Yeah. Listening to music in 432. I'm gonna have to look that up. That sounds interesting to me.
Yeah, I'm curious. You know, I've always wondered if there was like a specific like type of song or like time signature that I'm attracted to naturally and just don't realize it.
So speaking of this exact thing, one of the books I'm working on right now is with a company called Budo Brothers, and they're up in Alberta, Canada. And
They look so metal.
Eric and Kyle. Oh, you're looking dumb. Eric and Kyle are the two guys that run the company, own the company, run the
Oh my
company.
God, Converge.
And they're the ones that reached out to me. I bought some of their products like years ago. I'm talking like 5 years ago maybe. And you know, we connected, and I asked them, I was running a podcast at the time, and I asked them to interview them. And I just thought they were really fun, cool guys. And we got along really well, and just kind of kept in touch after I had them on my podcast. Excuse me. And so fast forward a little while, and we just kind of said hi and this kind of stuff, you know, back and forth. And they reached out and they said, hey, we want to start a podcast. And since you do it, can you recommend like the equipment and what do we do and so on and so forth? So I gave them a list of the equipment, and here's how we do it, and here's how I do my post-production with the audio files and all that kind of stuff, and helped them start it. And then I was their co-host for 20-ish episodes, the first 20 episodes. Their podcast is still running. They're uploading, I think, an episode or 3 every week at this point. So, you know, we remain friends through this whole thing. And they asked me, you know, last year, like, hey, we want to write a book, and we want you to do it. And we're not going to write it if you don't do it because we don't know how to write good. So, and I was like, just absolutely 100% I'm in. Like, you don't even have to say another thing. I'm so thrilled to work with these two guys. And they become close friends of mine. And so they actually flew me up to Alberta November? I think it was in November, December, somewhere around there. And we spent just a weekend retreat at a family cabin of one of their families, and had an amazing time. I mean, we were outside and just looking at the Milky Way outside at night. We were brainstorming about all this stuff about the book. You know, I had outlined it beforehand and sent them sample pieces. They really like it. We're on a precise wavelength, the three of us. And so one of the concepts in that book, the book is broken up into chapters, and the book is called Joy Jitsu. And so this is kind of treating it as a martial art to extract more joy out of your life and have more perspective on the things that matter and that you can be grateful for. So there is an entire chapter on gratitude. There's an entire chapter on perseverance. There's a chapter on authenticity. Actually, that's a lot of what I'm working on right now for them. And one of the concepts that we hit on is resonance. So when you're talking about that 430, 432 thing, is that everything operates on some kind of a frequency. And so you can have a glass and you have an opera singer, and that opera singer can hit a note that makes that glass vibrate in concert. That glass will break, and because it's the same frequency, it's that resonant frequency. And one of the things that we were talking about is how people also operate on a frequency. You know, when you meet somebody, and maybe it's the first time you've met them, and you just click. Like, there's just something really special about that you walk away with this feeling like, holy cow, like this is one of my people. And it's a fascinating thing to explore because it exists in so many different ways in nature. It's one of the reasons. I mean, like, a song may resonate for me that doesn't resonate for her, vice versa, because we have a little bit of a different frequency from the things that we like and enjoy and everything else. So that's a fascinating concept. I really have to look that up.
I feel like
Yep, bridges crumbling due the frequency of wind. There's another one. It's an old video of an earthquake, and the bridge is literally just going back and forth like this.
it's like weaving.
But it's not breaking, and you can see, like, those are the wavelengths going through it. It's such a fascinating concept, but understanding that you resonate with other people, and the fact that you're sitting here and I'm sitting on my sofa live and we're having a conversation together is a perfect example of resonance. There's a reason that you found something that I said and that you ended up on the channel that I'm operating. You know, something I said resonated with you, or you're just like a hater and you're chilling, and that's cool too. But I mean, it's resonant, but just like in a different way. But there's a reason that you're here. We resonated with each other in some way. There's some wavelengths going on in my head that I decided to broadcast out that hit your head just right, and now we're chilling.
And it worked on me.
It worked on her too.
Sitting next to you on the couch. All because I was looking up INFJ stuff on the internet.
It's really interesting, though. So this particular book I'm working on is going to end up somewhere around 40 to 50,000 pages. I wouldn't quite consider it self-help, but like it's meant to help people. And you know, I have a friend of mine that I sent a chapter to that was having a hard time struggling with a little bit of grief, and you know, wrote back and said, holy moly, like this is something that can help me. Like, this is something that helped me. It helped me have some perspective. And so being able to affect some positive change that way, it's good. And it's really fun to write about this stuff. You know, we ended up sitting around and actually recording our conversations, talking about all the different points in the book. And so a lot of my writing is actually just like putting down the dictation of it, you know, because I'm putting their personal stories in it and a lot of mine. We're writing this as a trio. We're each putting a lot into it. So I'm writing stories about stuff that happened with me, when my brother passed away, my dad passed away shortly thereafter, and just some of the things that I was going through in terms of gratitude and stuff like that. So really interesting. I'm very excited about this. I'm going to be putting stuff, you know, up about it. The website exists, joyjitsu.ca, because Canada. So you can check it out. And if you go on there, you can check it out. You put in your email and you'll get updates on it and everything like that. And again, it's like, these guys are so great. Their company is fantastic. They really do things the right way. They have a fascinating story. The two of them pitched in $500 each with an idea and went to Southeast Asia. And they were like, we're just going to travel there for a week or two and hit some textile places and hopefully get a deal to make this article of clothing. And that's how it started. And now they've got well over 1 million subscribers on their YouTube. They're all over the place. They've got content coming out on everything. Like, they're really good guys. So would highly recommend a follow. All right, so am I missing anything? Because I'm blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
All right, what am I missing?
Do any fellow INFJs like meditation and manifesting techniques? I like the idea of it, but I'm really bad at it, so I don't do it.
Yeah. Concept sounds great.
I'm better at meditating when
reality
I'm
of
like in the
trying.
car or like doing something else.
Okay, I
Like
did
taking
have
care of my
this
plants.
VR thing that stepped you through this app where it like gave you something serene and it felt like you were there. I was good with that. Like that was kind of nice. It was practicing your whole box breathing and all that. But like I tend to do that anyway. Like slow it down, take the big breath, especially when I'm feeling a little bit anxious or whatever else. So there's that. Let's see.
I'm sorry, I just can't. Are you LGBTQ friendly?
I'm not sure what that is. I know what that means.
I still don't know what that means though, even when it's spelled properly.
Right. So
Describe humanity in one sentence. Somebody else said something about being doomed.
yeah. Yeah.
What did he say? It was funny.
I mean, is it bad if I'm hoping Cthulhu is real and he comes
Doomed
out of
at
the
its
ocean?
current projection.
He comes out of the ocean and pretty much just like,
Only if the theme song to Totoro was playing.
that's
But,
right.
like,
That was really funny. So, no, I can't really explain humanity in one word. It's obviously too complex for that. Life is complex and it is very, very short. Think about this. Like, the world is a very big place.
It doesn't work. Just
You're
in
not
your
going to
mind.
see.
Okay.
You're not going to see the whole thing. There's billions of people on it, and yet just the sun in our solar system can fit 1.5 million Earths. Like we're tiny, and really insignificant when you think about it in like the grand scheme. These are the kinds of things I enjoy thinking about. So I refuse to take anything too seriously. One of the philosophies I dove into recently is absurdism, and I'm not like fully into it or fully agree with it, but I think it's really fascinating as a way to just look at everything as like, well, this is silly, and I might as well do the things that make me happy, and not be a jerk while I'm around, and like we're good. And so, yeah, my next big dive is probably going to be into Nietzsche. But like I'm gonna have to take a big breath before I get into Nietzsche. So, so there's that. Let's see.
The highlighted one.
Time at LibertyCon. Oh, okay. I'm really excited. I'm also nervous because I don't know exactly what I'm going to be doing there. Because they haven't issued the schedule for what panels we're going to be on and everything like that. Now, the first panel I went to last year was really funny, and I was like, damn it! If there was any panel that I would want in my life to sit on, it would have been that one. So I'm really hopeful that I've got some good things. I did request a reading room, so I know I'll be there. In one of the conference rooms to be able to read some of my work to people for an hour. I did request a table to hang out at, to have some of the books out and just kind of meet people and talk to them about my writing and stuff like that. I will have some sample chapters of a book that I'm currently working on available in like physical form. I don't have one of them. This is one of the things that I did last year when I went is I printed up it looked like a booklet, but it looked like The Caretaker, but it was only the first chapter. Yeah, I know, I've got them up top. So it was just like a few pages of the first chapter that I could hand to people that were interested. And so I'm going to do the same thing with another book that I'm working on. So I will be there and active. I'm just not sure yet exactly what because it hasn't been scheduled. When it is, I will certainly let you know. But I'm very excited. Met some really cool people there. One of the guys that I met and talked with at length last year is actually the Master of Ceremonies this year, Terry Maggart, and so I'm excited to go hang out with him again and just see some really cool people. That was a wild time. It was a blast. It was really funny when everybody was drunk and doing karaoke night. You had like a bunch of like just awkward authors up there. One of them was doing Nightwish.
Nice.
Like I don't know songs that well. I could do the Humpty Dance, start to finish. But yeah. I don't know. I'm showing my 90s favoritism right there, aren't I?
I'd probably sing Britney.
Yeah. First you limp to the side like your leg was broken. Never mind. Forget it. All right, anyway. What else? The LGBTQ. All right, so this is a touchy subject. I have no problem with anybody and how they live their life. I am a pretty libertarian-leaning guy. I believe you should be free to do the things that you want to do, hence LibertyCon. However, I am not woke. I'm not a woke person. I don't subscribe to woke ideology. I think it's a disastrous thing for people. And so I can't put myself in that camp. I don't believe we should be legislating things, but again, we each have our own views on this. If you ask me what I think of things like hate crimes, I'm going to tell you that they don't exist, because I don't believe that we should be punishing thoughts. I think it's a slippery slope and a terrible thing to do. I believe a crime is a crime, period, regardless of something that somebody may have said during. So my society is like, if I had neighbors that were gay and had a closet full of assault rifles, I'd be totally cool with it. There's my paradox. So
Literally don't care.
do with that what you will.
You do you, boo-boo.
But also, I treat everybody on an individual basis. Yeah. And so, you know, if somebody treats me respectfully, they're going to get respect in return.
There's no, like, I like this group or I don't like that group. Like, everybody is
right.
An individual. It doesn't matter your sexuality, your race, your gender, like, none of it. Like, literally none of it matters to me if you're a good person.
Right. So. You know, it's that kind of thing. Like, I don't, and honestly, like, I don't even think about it all that much either. So what I don't like is how we take artistic works that exist and we twist them around for modern audiences, so to speak. That's something that I'm very averse to. So we just saw that with Roald Dahl, right? So the author of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, James and the Giant Peach, and they're redoing his books to take out words like fat or whatever else when he's describing somebody. Like Augustus Gloop is literally, like, he's the fat kid in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
I use the word fat like 1,000 times a day because I have a fat cat.
It's cool when it's with a PH. That's how I do it for him. But my point is, we cannot scrub. That's such a slippery slope, and I have such a problem with it when we scrub somebody's artistic work because it's like unpalatable now. I think it's really stupid. I don't think we should be tearing down statues. I don't think we should be doing any of those kinds of things because we are essentially erasing a history. And even if that history is unpalatable to you, it is important, so it's not repeated. And so I don't believe we should be doing any of those kinds of things. I am very opinionated on this topic. It's just not something that I normally talk about. But I'm writing a book.
Soon.
I'm writing a book that's really going to satirize the world that we're living in right now, and I am really excited about it. I'm a little nervous about it, but I'm looking forward to it because there is a great deal of absurdity, and I love absurdity.
And you have the best sense of humor.
Absurd humor.
Honestly, you guys.
And I'm just going to run with it.
The first few chapters are hilarious and engaging already, and I'm really excited to see where the story goes.
And let me tell you, if you want to get an idea for where I stand, like politically, my humor and everything else.
It's so funny.
So go to my site, davidbatterina.com. There's a short story on there. I've got 3 short stories posted. There's one called Alex and Toshiro Are Totally in Space.
I love it. It's my favorite.
Okay. So I wrote this humorous story.
Just davidbatterina.com.
But that's davidbatterina.com. That's my humor, okay? And in that story, and it's less than 5,000 words, I pretty much make fun of everything and everyone because that's where I stand on it all.
Nobody's safe.
Everyone is absurd. Everyone is ridiculous. I don't agree with anybody. I'm on an island by myself with the way I think, and so I'm just gonna have fun with it. So, so if you want to get an idea, you know, and if you're in the U.S. and it's the whole red and blue argument, I'm gonna make fun of both.
Yeah.
Because that's what I do.
It's more fun that way.
If it's an ideology thing, I'm gonna make fun of it because I believe humor is missing. We can't have that anymore. I think it's so critical, and satire in particular is something that I just.
People are so serious, and it's depressing.
Like I grew up on Monty Python, for crying out loud. Like nothing should be sacred.
I mean, listen,
nothing.
I grew up in a time where like we said things that you can't even say now, or you get kicked out of basketball. Okay, so Knives Out posed an interesting question for you, I think, about hate crimes.
Right?
Don't you feel like certain people are targeted because of who they are?
I don't know.
Yes, they are. But
Sure.
I don't think that makes it more of a crime.
Yeah. I mean, I
You're
think
still
it's
committing a crime.
I think it's ridiculous. I truly, honestly think hate crime laws are ridiculous. We're punishing thought. We're punishing the way somebody thinks, and I don't think that's okay. And
yeah, like,
I don't
you're
think
crazy
it's something
enough
that should
to
be
commit a crime.
encouraged.
Like,
Well, this is my thing. Like, you know, if-
does it matter? Like,
but seriously, like if somebody gets assaulted and they just get assaulted, but they get assaulted while a slur was used, that person goes to prison for longer or gets a heavier sentence. That's ridiculous. Punish the crime. The crime was committed. And
they don't
saying
hold that
it's
same energy when it goes.
and this is the thing, like you can hold it one direction but not the other direction. And that is also not equal. It's equal if you punish the crime. It's not equal if you say, well, that person said it, but like they said it to this group, which is not marginalized, so it's okay. So I absolutely disagree with everything. I don't believe hate crimes exist. And I think any law like that is just really, really problematic, a very problematic slippery slope. No thought police for me. No 1984, thank you.
Candy says, oh my god, my husband and I were just talking about Monty Python and how that wouldn't fly now. How many movies would never get made now? We just watched Tropic Thunder.
Ooh, oh, Tropic Thunder is one of my favorites.
What do you mean, you people?
What do you mean, you people? Or PCU? Have you ever seen PCU? Now listen, this movie used to be on like Comedy Central or whatever, like every single weekend. You can't find it now, not streaming, not anywhere. I ended up scoring a DVD off of eBay to get a hold of this movie again because it literally insults every group and all of the nonsense political correctness that is run amok. And so it is right up my alley. Just to say.
Hi, Holly. I just saw you.
It's just one of those days. See?
A Better You keeps asking, have you ever experienced lucid or vivid dreaming?
No, I normally just have nightmares about bees.
Yes, he kicks me in his
I
sleep.
do. I'm really sorry. Last night it was spiders, which isn't normal for me, but yeah, no, not really. I don't know. She says that she has dreams, but she's like, it was normal. I was in a mall.
I have the most normal,
Like,
boring dreams
I have
ever,
dreams,
and he's
and I'm
like doing all types
I
of
was
crazy
on the
stuff.
Burj Khalifa Tower in
No,
Dubai
but you've
having
had
dinner with a
sleep
penguin.
paralysis before, though, right?
I have had sleep
That
paralysis.
to me is fascinating.
It's terrifying.
Sleep
That was
paralysis
terrifying.
and the whole concept of like the demon thing.
Yeah.
Fascinating because literally you're still in REM sleep, but your eyes are freaking open.
Yeah, I didn't like that at all.
So you're like awake, but not. You're still dreaming. So you're seeing your dream in like reality, and people like panic.
That's literally a nightmare. Yeah, that's terrible stuff. When I say bees,
What are
I
you
don't
doing,
mean
bub?
the cute fuzzy honey ones.
Oh, he's sniffing the air.
I just mean bees like yellow jackets. Like I'm not a big fan.
Yeah, sleep paralysis is fascinating to me. I didn't know. Kind of like the thing I didn't know about like your brain washing itself when you sleep. Do you guys know that your brain washes itself every night while you sleep?
This is kind of gross, but your brain like shrinks a little and then the fluids go around and then
Yeah.
yeah.
Wash your brain tonight, folks.
You don't really have a choice.
But it's like good, it's good for you. I don't know, it's weird. I dreamt that we had a pet hippo that got rowdy. Woke up and told my husband we need to rehome the hippos.
Yeah. This is exactly the kind of thing that I would do. I'd wake up and be like, we have to find a new house for the hippos. Be like, what?
Yeah.
I have some weird dreams.
I wouldn't say that dreams are another reality. It's your subconscious mind.
Connie.
You're playing out memories and thoughts and
Yeah, the
visual
things
things
that
that
on your
you've
mind.
seen throughout the day. It's just the part of our brain that we usually don't tap into while we're awake.
It's that subconscious running wild.
Yeah, I mean, our conscious mind is the tip of the iceberg. So
I've never really, I don't think
what are you
I've actually
doing?
like dreamt about the spider cows, and I'm happy about that. But now that I've said it, I probably will. What's he doing? Hey,
I
come
don't know,
on.
he was on your desk last night.
So anyway, so some of the things I'm working on, there's the Joy Jitsu book that I mentioned before. There is, and I put it in the last video that I'm calling Wokepocalypse, which is my satire of all things woke. And really just cultural commentary. Nobody's safe. Nobody is safe. And that's where I can have fun and just kind of let loose. So that is a work in progress. I'll be sharing some of that at LibertyCon because that is the right environment for it. And then I've got the sequel to The Caretaker. So that's working on. I was actually working on the cover for it today, just a little bit, because I should have been writing, but instead was doing graphic design. This is something that normally happens with writers.
It counts.
Who are like, squirrel. So there's that. Anybody on here that has read Caretaker? I'd be curious to know.
I read it.
I
Does
know,
that count?
I know it does count. Yeah, for sure. But I'd be curious to know if any of you are hanging out in there, interested on info on the sequel. Love extra projects. Yeah, I'm all about the extra projects. So, yeah, the second have it but haven't read it.
What are you waiting for?
What are you waiting for? Just read the first chapter. You'll be fine. It'll hook you.
You won't be able.
Hopefully,
to put
it'll
it
hook you
down.
in. No, I'm really excited about it,
I'm not just
and
saying
about where this story is going. And so, William's journey is in a lot of ways reflective of things that I've been going through. I wrote that book in large part to cope with the loss of my brother, and so those themes are weaved throughout it. Themes of death and loss and love and that feeling of helplessness and wanting to be distant from people, but knowing that you need people around you. And so
Yeah, a bunch of people who read it.
that second book is, if you think back, just refreshing your memory without giving away spoilers, which is really hard to do, on where the first book had ended. William made a decision that was very difficult that he had to do, that affected him in a very impactful way, to wrap up that story. So book two is where William pays the psychological price for that decision, because even though he may act a certain way, and this applies to really anybody, you may act a certain way in the moment that is the right thing to do for that moment, there can definitely be a psychological price afterwards. And so William's going to have a lot of coping to do. And he's not going to be in a good place mentally. And that's something I'm very excited to write and explore. You will be seeing many more concepts in book two, and I'm very excited about that as well. Still going to throw in my typical kind of humor into it. So I don't want to give too much away about it, but I am very, very excited. And only recently, I'd say within the last month or two, did I have a really clear vision of what the last chapter of book two is going to be, and I can't wait to write it. And that's a very good feeling. So I'm excited. It's gonna go in some really cool places and really explore. I mean, I'm trying to do the same thing that was with the first book, where you read it and you start to see things in your own life a little differently, even though it's just this supernatural story. So I'm excited.
People are asking about audiobooks.
Okay.
Some people have a hard time reading.
Audiobooks. Well, here's the thing. We're in an apartment with thin walls. So I can hear
And
when
this is pretty much it, what you're seeing.
my neighbors are probably listening to this entire live.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can hear the difference between somebody taking a spoon or a fork out of the drawer in their kitchen,
Yeah.
across the wall.
I really love when they make dinner at midnight. That's my favorite.
yeah, that's
I'm
good
trying
too.
to sleep.
So if I'm going to record, it has to be in the shower. Let me explain. The bathroom is the room in the center of the apartment where I'm
Yeah.
not abutting anyone else, though it is against the hallway, and sometimes there are a couple businesses on this floor.
Rarely.
Sometimes you hear people go by.
Or
But
a dog.
what I'm going to have to do is throw up a bunch of quilts to just kind of deaden the sound.
And I'll have to shower at the gym.
Yeah. I mean, I should be able to move it out and still keep the levels the same. It's just making it consistent, but I very much want to read it. I've had
It's so much better when he reads it too. Honestly, I make him read all the things to me. Obviously,
I have to read
the
her
book.
goodnight stories.
I read the book on my own when he was done with it, but like as he was writing it, like chapters, he would read them to me because it's good for you too to like read them out loud.
Oh, for sure.
Hear how they sound and get my feedback and all that too. So, and then I
Yeah.
get a bedtime story.
Part of my...
He's really good at it. It's so soothing.
It's good. No, I know. Yeah, when you
Also,
first told me that,
how
you're
you
like...
want your characters to like talk.
You're like,
and,
read
their
something to me so I can
cadence.
fall asleep, and I didn't really know if that was a compliment or not, but like, I guess it is.
Well, I used to watch your videos to fall asleep.
There's that too.
And now I'm spoiled.
Yeah.
Because I just have you.
Yeah, snoring next to you.
It's sweet.
So much
company.
But yeah, I'm gonna put up some quilts and stuff like that.
Egg
And
cartons. I
try
mean,
to do
we
that.
literally have like the foam. He has the foam thingies. It's just like.
I don't have those anymore.
No, you got rid of them.
Yeah, I got rid of those.
Oh.
Yeah,
Well,
but it's fine. Like, it's fine.
it wasn't gonna work anyway.
It's just making sure the levels, and also like recording it on your own. It's tricky because there are spots where you mess up and everything like that. So you've got to be marking
oh my
down
gosh, I would be the worst.
times for
I
where
can't
you
read one sentence.
need
without
to edit,
messing up.
because like the last thing I want to do is just listen to the entire thing over again after I just spoke it. So there's that.
Yeah, that was my only complaint too, Connie. She read it in a single sitting because it was so good.
No.
It's just
There you
so
go.
easy to read.
That's good
like
to hear.
the story like just flows really naturally. I read it in 2 days, which is fast for me because usually if I read for more than a few hours, I fall asleep. But I was like staying up late just to like keep reading.
Right. Yeah, it's different when the author reads the book because you're getting their sense. Like the voices I hear in my head for those characters talking, their cadence is different than your average reader, and so I feel like more can be communicated that way. It's definitely something that I want to do, but it's that whole thing of like, all right, I've got to plan this out. Like, I need to set aside basically a week where I'm not really doing anything else, and I can devote a few hours every day to doing this, because reading the thing start to finish, like that's a lot of time, and that's a lot on the voice
Your
too.
throat gets dry.
Yeah, there's things like that.
Even
so,
if you like, even just filming, when I do like I filmed today for a while, I'm like I gotta keep drinking water. And like it's hard to talk
I gotta do
for
that.
that long.
I'm gonna do like the whole Mark Zuckerberg. You know, when he was like in front of Congress and stuff, he was like answering all the questions, and he was like a robot with like the water. It was really weird. I still think the
Thanks
guy's
for
an
being
android.
here, Tina.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys. I'm gonna wrap up soon.
Yeah.
But just kind of giving you an update. I know we talked about some different stuff, some political stuff and everything else. Well, not really political, but like cultural stuff. And, you know, I think the main thing is, like, one of the things that I always try to do with everything that I'm writing or producing or putting out there is to make sure it's resonating
Gosh, I can't stop yawning.
in some way. And so, you know, I enjoy helping. I enjoy helping other authors. It's one of my favorite things to do is to chat with people. A lot of times on Twitter, you know, somebody will come across and just say hi, and like just to be able to offer some advice, because I have no idea what I'm doing. I started out and I said I wanted to write a book. I had to figure out how to do it, how to deal with the cover, the editing, the layout, the self-publishing, like all of these different steps. And by every measure that I set forth for myself, it was a smashing success. I mean, it's sitting on Amazon right now with 160 reviews and 5 stars. Like, I'm not going to complain. And I'm going to be getting to speak at LibertyCon. Like, that's also really cool. So there you go. This is the thing.
Hi, Cindy.
So, hi, Cindy. I am so much into conspiracies, and Zuckerberg is a lizard.
It's one of the reptilians.
You know, I'm not going to disagree.
I love conspiracy stuff, and I love supernatural stuff.
Yeah.
Him not so much, but
I like it's
I'm
interesting.
into it.
I just like I don't think there's lizard people in the sewers.
no,
but,
they're walking around.
But I'm hoping
One of us.
there's lizard people.
I've
in the
questioned him
sewers.
before. I'm like, are you
Yes, I'm a mutant.
an alien
You
or
didn't say
are
that
you a
because my eyes
person?
were blue. You kept saying I was a
Yes,
mutant.
Genetic
She
mutations.
was calling me a mutant.
I usually never trust people with blue eyes.
There's that. Yeah, it was a lot of work. That book was a lot of work.
I
And
liked watching you go through the process and
yeah, I mean, if you, yeah, some of my first videos on this channel, I was just like, look, I just want to have a book, get it out there, and have one person I don't know buy it. And to know that it's carried through, has had great reviews, has had people, you know, I've had people asking me to review the book and things like that. Other people posting reviews on their own blogs and stuff like that. And to know that, you know, it's gotten a little bit of traction that way is just really, really cool. I hope for more, but like, I'm very happy with how The Caretaker went, and that makes me excited to continue the story too. If I do this right, it's going to be 4 books by the end of it. So there's a lot of story to tell, for sure. Supernatural videos. Jesus had blue eyes and was an INFJ.
I'm not so sure about
Fantastic.
that. Not so sure.
Oh my goodness.
About that.
Anything else? Any other questions? Anything?
He was the only dude in the Middle East with blue eyes. That's believable.
Got a few poems out. Love writing kids stories, but too worried about how things get tangled up in the real world. You know, I'm not worrying anymore.
No, you have to do what you want to do, put the art out into the world that you want to put out there, and don't worry about how people react to it. If people are going to be offended or mad at you for it, those aren't your people.
Yeah, that whole talk that we had about resonance, right? The right people find it and enjoy it, and it resonates. And, you know, I received a message from somebody that said that they...
Sorry, the way Crash is just sitting there.
He's fine.
It's making me laugh.
I received a message from somebody that said that they read The Caretaker for comfort when they're feeling anxiety or stress.
You're so fast.
And knowing that, it's like, that's really big for me. You know, just to know that words that I was putting down when I was feeling anxiety and stress are actually helping somebody just in this story, that's really, really cool. So, I mean, do I wish it sold 1 billion copies? Of course. You know, I want my own theme park in Disney World. Mm-hmm. That's not going to happen. But I can still write the stuff that I enjoy.
This one's nice.
Kitty, kitty, meow. Wanted to say thank you. Well, you're very welcome. I know sometimes I disappear for a time. I needed to recede these last few months.
I mean,
but
INFJs should understand that better than anybody, I feel like.
Yeah, it's just like sometimes you just have to.
Yeah.
And so, you know, struggling with a lot of things and, you know, what to say and how to communicate it, and sometimes feeling like I don't really have anything to say at all. And so, you know, the pressure of that, especially when you look at something like YouTube where you're trying to maintain people like knowing that your channel exists. So you've got to produce videos constantly.
YouTube punishes you if you don't post, and then they punish you if you post outside of your like general topic. So like anything that he posts that doesn't have INFJ in the title, YouTube is just like...
Yeah, they throttle it, for sure. And all they want you to do now is post 60-second shorts. And I'm just like, there's a reason I'm not on TikTok. Like, I don't feel like doing that. And I don't really feel like I can... I'm too verbose to communicate anything in 60 seconds. Like, come on.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard even for me with the plant stuff. I'm like, look at this plant. Okay, time's up. See,
Casey, and you should, right? And if you do, let me know, because I want to see like how you handle it as well. Like that's exactly it. Like
what?
It's just like thinking of making a comeback, but maybe not strictly about INFJ stuff.
Yeah, well, that's
but it gets hard. Like it's hard to do.
You have really good insight
and
on
also,
other things.
Like sometimes just the INFJ topics. Like I'm being real with you guys. It can be exhausting. Like just the comments and everything else that are there's very much like people will write comments that are like pages long, and that can get very overwhelming. Like I'm still an empathetic individual. And so absorbing all of that and trying to respond to it in a meaningful way gets very, very difficult. So, you know, I'm trying. And maybe it'll be more about writing stuff moving forward. Maybe it'll just be more me being stupid with stuff. I don't know. Like, I'm trying to figure it out, I guess.
Yeah. I don't think we necessarily get bored of the INFJ stuff. You just get to a point where you've like learned everything that you could about it, and like you move on to something else. Like there's just not much left to say about it, you know?
Yeah. That's the thing. Like I've covered. Like I don't need to do a video on the door slam again. Like please, I don't want to do a video about narcissists again, for crying out loud. Like it just like
few.
all of these kinds of things. You know,
I talk about it on
yes. See, the well runs dry. The well does run dry. You know, so there's that. But anyway, I guess I could wrap up there.
Yeah.
You know, I'll throw it out for like another minute. Does anybody have any like last minute questions or anything like that?
I feel like your T-shirt.
Save Ferris. I mean, come on. I've got to represent the '80s movies.
Cindy wishes you success at LibertyCon.
Cindy, you're very sweet. Thank you.
Connie's carrying on about lizards and the Greys. He doesn't believe any of that stuff. So.
Lizard people.
And aliens. He doesn't believe there's aliens. Which type would you want to be?
I appreciate you asking for my perspective as well and sticking around. What's that? Which what?
A Better You says, which type would you want to be for a week?
Which type for it? Honestly, I just want to turn it all off for a week.
Oh, what's
I want a week where I can just like, can I just be like an, I don't know, an I for a week? Like that would be great. The boa's name is Willow. She's back there.
Yeah,
somewhere.
I can't take her out because we just fed her yesterday, and I don't want to bother her.
She'll be on video soon. I promise.
Yeah.
You guys saw Penny with the last video.
She's on my channel in a couple of videos,
Penny.
and if you want to go to my Instagram, I have some videos of her on my Instagram. It's just at Jacqueline's Jungle.
Penny and her thick booty. She's a big snake right now.
She is a big girl.
Yeah, she's
But
eating.
Our boa's name is
She's eating the
Willow.
big
I'm not
food.
sure if we said that. She's a blood boa, and she'll be a year in May. She's really cute.
Yeah.
Really cute.
Yeah,
So.
she's really adorable.
We
We're
just
excited.
got her a whole big new terrarium that we're gonna set up this weekend because we didn't get to it this week.
Yep.
So I'm excited for that front opening because my girl gets stressed out when I put her back.
Yeah, it's a thing with the snakes.
It's the first time I saw you on live chat thingy.
Let's see.
Yeah, Penny is a big girl.
Thanks so much.
It's great healing about you.
Yep.
Yeah.
I get it, Holly.
We all hate narcissists.
We've all had our experiences.
Yeah, but Holly knows that I do talk about it on my channel. Obviously, I talk about plants, but I throw in my experiences with that in there as well. So I definitely do touch on that.
It's just one of those topics I'm pretty well done with. They exist, they're everywhere. I've said so much about them. I just want people to be
like
well armed.
Rampant now.
You know,
it's
yeah,
like
it's
a problem.
everywhere.
It's like spreading like wildfire too.
Oh my gosh, I totally was talking to ChatGPT a bunch. I prefer Dan.
Oh, I broke it.
Yeah, you ended up breaking it. Yeah, that was funny. People were always worried about that.
To me.
It did. Yeah, you got it to apologize. I've done a bunch of AI art stuff, and I've also done a bunch of played around with the ChatGPT and everything. And I can say unequivocally, I don't think AI art is going to replace real artists at any point, and I don't think ChatGPT is going to replace authors at any point. It will produce content and things like that, but it's pulling from sources, and it's pulling from biased sources and everything else. There are, I keep my ear to the ground in terms of the publishing industry, and there are a lot of agents and publishers that are very, very irritated with ChatGPT because people are churning out full-length books that the AI has written in like 3 days and submitting them for publication. And many agents have said if you so much as think about submitting that, or you do it, don't ever submit anything again because they don't trust it. And so there's an equilibrium to be found. I like AI art. Everything on my website, like most of those images were AI art designed.
Yeah.
Because it allows somebody who doesn't have the time, inclination, or funds to pay an artist to do all these things to at least make something that's visually somewhat appealing. and so I use it for covers for short stories, things like that. And
AI
so,
can't self-express. People have to code
No.
it. It's a program. It
Right.
can only do what people code it to do.
yeah.
It's not
You
going
being
to
you in a
become-
video without even mentioning it is an INFJ video.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate
Have I
that.
not been saying that
You
the
have been
whole
saying
entire
that.
time?
I know. Way to make her just feel correct about everything. I appreciate it.
Thank you for the validation.
All right, you guys have a great night and all that kind of stuff. I'm gonna have to figure out how to turn this. Figure out how to turn this off. Do you know how to turn this off?
You hit the X in the corner.
I hit the X in the corner.
You say bye, and then you hit the
Okay.
X in the corner, and then keep in mind that they can still see you for a few seconds after you hit the
Oh.
X
All right.
in the corner.
So don't stand up if I don't have pants on. I have
don't-
pants on.
I'm gonna stay seated.
Yeah, it's all good. Good night, and thank you all for being here. I really appreciate it. It's nice to catch up and talk and everything, and I'm sure I'll be seeing you around here soon.
Yeah,
we should do
thanks
this
for
again.
hanging out.
I think we'll do this again.
You can come hang out with us in mine.
And please
too.
don't forget to
We'll
like
talk about
hit the
plants.
thumbs button and subscribe or whatever.
Yeah,
or like
leave a comment.
write a comment. Nobody knows my page exists anymore. The interaction helps a little bit. So
Yeah, leave a regular comment. Let us know if you read The Caretaker or if you plan on reading it.
right.
Highly recommend.
Yeah, I appreciate it. All right, people. Have a good night, and I'll see you when I see you.
Bye.
Bye. Oh, I just blew the kiss, but they can still see me.